Another week of Year 10 health. I hope that you're all doing well. Once again, I just want to remind you that you can send me an email at any time. And thank you to those students who have been sending me emails just to clarify any of their thinking, any of their understandings, or ask me about something. I feel as if some of the best work that I'm receiving from students is the stuff that's been sent to me halfway through, or the students who have sent me an email to clarify a piece of information. Rather than just working the task from start to finish and then sending it in, I'm finding that there's a real level of development in the students' work when they send it to me or they ask me direct questions throughout, as if we would in the classroom when you put your hand up to ask a question. This week is a little bit different. This week is not an outcome task. This week is new information. It's continuing on from the slides that I presented on Thursday's class of last week, where those slides were all about human development and development across the lifespan. And it's all about you guys putting some time in to research and finding this out. Now, I've done a little bit of the research for you. I've provided you with an initial YouTube, not from me, from somebody else, that talks you through some of the things that you're going to place into this document. And what I would recommend is that when you do complete this task, I want you to be free-flowing with the way that you complete it. Don't be rigid and structured in completing one box at a time, and I'm going to show you the task now. As you complete the document, whenever you find a piece of information that is relevant, place it into its relevant location so that by the end of Thursday's class, the document is entirely completed. I'll be coming to you with some more information on Wednesday and Thursday's class in video form via YouTube. And all of the way you'll be completing this document. So you only need to submit to me this document by the end of our 3 classes this week. So this is this entire week's worth of work. Where do you actually find it? In our resources tab under week 6, it's the Microsoft Word document, the human lifespan and development task. So let's find it down here and have a little bit of a look. Now it's a pretty big task, it's 7 pages, but as I said, you've got 3 lessons to work on this. How does it work? There's 2 separate tables within the document, and each of the tables goes through the 4 development processes, which we talked about in last lesson, and the stages in which they develop. So we have that prenatal stage, the infancy, the early childhood, the late childhood, the youth, the early adulthood, middle adulthood, and late adulthood. And the first table is all about when does this stage begin? Now that can be a pretty easy to answer question just by looking at the information that was presented in last lesson, but you might even want to add a picture to it so that when you do have this in front of you, before you go into the SAC at the end of term, it's quite easy to glance at a picture or an image and remember it that way rather than just a number or a word written on a document. And then when does this stage end? Inside there, I want you to have a look at what some examples of different milestones were from that stage. Now this is similar to the task that we completed in last week's lesson, where you time-stamped 15 different milestones within the development within your life. But I want this to have multiple examples in each stage. So after you work through that first table, you're going to be working through the second table. It's got the same stages of lifespan, infancy, early childhood, late childhood, etc. And now it's developed into 4 of these different categories. Each of those stages are styles of development. So physical development, social development, emotional development, and intellectual development. And remember, some of these developments can move forward at a faster rate than others, and some will lag behind, and that's absolutely okay. And partially can be the difference why everyone in the world is different in all ways. So what I would like you to start doing is having a look at the examples that have been filled in there for you and understand that with 3 lessons, we really want this task to be completed at a really high standard. So not just trying to fill things in quickly and get it completed. Images, diagrams, all sorts of things to make sure that this task really looks the part when you've completed this week's worth of work. One last thing that I'll say to you about this. After you watch the YouTube that's provided to you, any of the information that pops up that might go into any of those boxes or columns, fill it in as you go. when you get your video at the start of next lesson on Wednesday, have that table ready so that you can pause the video and add to it. When you get the video on Thursday, same thing. So that by the end of the week, the document that you present is extensive, it's detailed, and it's a total reference for you as we move forward for the next few weeks in this topic.